Hello guys, welcome back to Win, Lose or Draw. It's the last one of this series. The last game of the season is upon us. Let's get into the video. And as always, the first thing we have to do is look back at how we did on the weekend. And it was okay for me and you guys on Twitter. We got 5 apiece, which is decent. I got Barnsley to beat Forest, which I'm pretty happy with. Meanwhile, the Wheel had another shocker and only got 1. And that leaves the scoreboard looking like this as we head into the final round of fixtures. I'm on 43, you lot are on 38. And the Wheel is way behind on 21. So at least we've proved we're better than a random wheel, but it is all to play for. Anything can happen. We've got some wild predictions coming up, so let's get into them. And before we get into all of the predictions, make sure you stick around to the very end because I've put together what our results will do to the league table so we can see who gets relegated, who gets promoted, and who finishes in the playoffs. So stick around to the very end, but we start with Wigan versus Fulham, and this is huge for Wigan, isn't it? They've got that minus 12 point deduction. The EFL have confirmed it is coming, so they need to win here if they are going to stay up. Fulham, meanwhile, have an outside chance of finishing in the top 2, but they need to win as well. They're 2 points behind West Brom at the moment. It's going to be very, very intense this game. Charlton drew 2-2 with Wigan with that Macaulay Bond last minute equaliser, which damaged their hopes of staying up. That really destroyed Wigan fans, that late goal, but they're still in with a chance as we head into this game. And it's a very tough one to call, but I'm backing Paul Cook's men and Wigan to get the win and to get the job done. You guys, meanwhile, 53% of you agree with me. Come on, Paul Cook. Come on, Wigan. You can do it. Next up is Luton versus Blackburn. Nathan Jones, what a job he has done since he's returned to Kenilworth Road, and they beat Hull in that crucial relegation playoff. It was last minute. Kazenga Lualua with the goal, and they needed that. The celebrations on the bench were incredible, and they've given themselves a real shot at staying up now. Meanwhile, Birmingham lost 2-0 to Preston, and they're pretty rubbish, aren't they? So clearly, I'm going to back Nathan Jones and Luton to get the job done and win this game. And amazingly, you guys agree with me again. 47% of you think that Luton will get the win and Luton are going to stay up. Sheffield Wednesday, Middlesbrough up next, and Sheffield Wednesday were involved in that mental game against Fulham, 5-3, loads of goals flying in, but of course they are still at risk of relegation with maybe an impending points deduction. We're not sure what's going on with that. The EFL have not confirmed anything, but they'll be looking to pick up as many points as possible here. Meanwhile, Borough have secured their survival and are safe. And Neil Warnock's men have been good away from home, better away than at home since he has come in. So I'm going to back a Borough win in this one. You guys disagree with me. Good disagreement. 49% of you think Wednesday will pick up 3 points, which could be crucial for them. Reading versus Swansea up next. And although Reading's season may be over, Swansea have got all to play for, haven't they, going into the final day? They're 3 points behind rivals Cardiff, and they can still make the playoffs, but they need to win here. Are they going to get the job done? Reading lost 4-3 to Blackburn at the weekend. Another great game with loads of goals flying in. Maybe they'll play with the freedom we want them to now. Meanwhile, Swansea 1-0 against Reading, a really important 3 points for them, keeping their promotion hopes alive. Reading, of course, might lose John Swift to Sheffield United. Will that play on his mind? Will that play on their mind? It might be his last game for them. And I think Swansea are just going to fall short. I've gone for a draw here. I think they're not going to have enough to make the playoffs. You guys think they're going to have a chance with picking up the 3 points here. 65% of you think Swansea will win this one. So how will those 4 results affect the table? Stick around to the end to find out. But up next is Leeds versus Charlton. That's champions Leeds versus Lee Bowyer's Charlton. And will Leeds be looking to do their old mate a favour here? Charlton needs some points to stay up, possibly. A draw might not be enough for them. Leeds don't need any more points. They're guaranteed as champions, and they have been out on the drink a bit, haven't they, this weekend? They've beaten Derby though, and Bielsa didn't let them slip. So I'm not sure on this one. I've gone for a draw. I'm not sure it'll be enough for Charlton. Leeds are a great team. We know that. They deserve it, champions. You guys predictably think Leeds will win this one. 51% of you think they'll come out with 3 points. Cardiff v Hull up next, and Cardiff need a point to secure a playoff place and fend off Swansea. Meanwhile, Hull look like they are down pretty much all but mathematically. They need a 17-goal swing to stay up, and that defeat against Luton summed up their 2020. It's been absolutely awful for Grant McCann. It's been awful for Hull City. The worst informed team in the whole country. Absolutely shocking. Meanwhile, Cardiff got a good 3-1 win over Borough. 2 goals from Josh Murphy. He was impressive again, and it's pretty straightforward, this one. I think Hull are the worst team in the division, and now they've proved it. Cardiff are going to win this one. You guys massively agree with me. 91% of you think Cardiff will beat Hull. Now, Brentford versus Barnsley. Brentford was shocked to the core with that defeat at Stoke. 1-0 they lost when it was in their hands. Can you believe it? The first time in the whole season it was in their hands after West Brom lost and they threw it away. Meanwhile, Barnsley saved their skin, took it to the final day with that last-minute goal against Forest, which I was happy to get right, but they were delighted on the pitch. The celebrations were amazing, and I've just got a belief. Conor Chaplin's talked about it in that dressing room. They really believe at Barnsley, and I think they can get the win here. So I'm predicting maybe a shock Barnsley win. I think Brentford will be in the playoffs. Meanwhile, you guys predictably think Brentford will win this one, which will put the pressure on. Make sure you stick around to see how that one affects the table. On to Millwall versus Huddersfield, and it's Huddersfield without Danny Cowley, of course. Make sure you check out my video on what I made of that decision. Pretty shocking, wasn't it? Millwall can no longer make the playoffs. Huddersfield can no longer go down. I'm going for a draw. Not much to say on this one. You guys think Millwall will win. Bristol City versus Preston next, and two more teams with nothing to play for, so let's make this one quick. Preston beat Birmingham 2-0. Bristol City lost 1-0 to Swansea. Two good seasons for both clubs. They've been on the fringe of the playoffs, but I'm going for a Bristol City win. You guys are going for a Preston win. 39% of you think North End will get the job done. Nottingham Forest versus Stoke next, which means they're not guaranteed a playoff place, Forest, yet. They need something here. They need a point. Meanwhile, Stoke got that amazing win over Brentford, probably their best performance of the season, certainly under Michael O'Neill. It was a really great performance from them to damage Brentford's hopes. I'm going for Forest on this one. I do think they'll get the job done. I do think they'll finish in the playoffs. You guys, amazingly, you think Stoke are going to win, come off the back of that Brentford win and get another win here, which would put Forest in serious danger of missing out on the top six. Who would have seen that one coming? Birmingham versus Derby. Birmingham in awful form, lost 2-0 to Preston. Derby, meanwhile, beaten by champions Leeds at the weekend. Birmingham may need something if Wigan avoid a deduction, but that doesn't look like it's going to happen, so they look like they're safe. I'm going for a Derby win, and you guys agree with me. 52% of you think Derby will win. And the last prediction is West Brom versus QPR. West Brom need to win with Fulham and Brentford still in with a chance of stealing that second place after they lost 2-1 to Huddersfield. It wasn't a good result for them. Bilic was planning for the playoffs. He said maybe that was a bit of mind games, which seem to have paid off because they're in pole position yet again. Meanwhile, QPR beat Millwall 4-3. An amazing attacking performance from them. Might be Eze's last game if you think about it, if he's on his way out of the club. But I think West Brom are going to get the job done. I don't think they're going to slip up twice. I think they're going to win this one. And you guys heavily agree with me. 82% of you think West Brom will finish second in the Championship this season. So now it's time to find out what the wheel thinks. Let's make it snappy, wheel. Begins with this huge game between Wigan and Fulham. Wigan need the points, Fulham need the points, and they'll get them. Luton, Blackburn, Luton desperate to stay in the Championship, and they'll get the 3 points. What about Sheffield Wednesday versus Middlesbrough? Draw. Swansea need all 3 points if they're to have a chance of finishing in the top 6, and they'll get them. Champions Leeds versus Lee Bowyer's Charlton. Will Lee Bowyer be given the points? No. Up next is Cardiff v Hull. Cardiff looking to hold on to 6th place and finish in the playoffs. They will. Biggest game left, Brentford v Barnsley. And they can't be separated, that's not good for either team. Millwall v Huddersfield, nothing to play for here. Nothing to play for here either, Bristol City Preston. Preston win. Surely Forest won't let the playoffs escape them. A draw will be enough. And finally the big one, can West Brom return to the Premier League? A draw might not be enough. So there we go, there are the wheels predictions. Let's look at the final table of all of our predictions. We've all predicted Luton and Cardiff to win, which would be great results for both of them. Meanwhile, we both think West Brom will get the job done and finish in second. Let's take a look at the odds. Always interesting to look at, and I think, well, I don't know what I've done here. 126,000 to 1. That is incredibly large, probably because I've picked Barnsley to beat Brentford. That's probably added to that. Meanwhile, you guys, I think this is the lowest we've ever had. So you're in with a great chance of beating me. 3,883 to 1. You've got a great chance of overturning this deficit. The wheel, I have got higher odds than the wheel. The wheel's at 89,000 to 1. So not bad from the wheel. But now we get to the main event. We get to look at the final tables, and we start with mine. So here we go. I've had to crop out Leeds. They're already up. Don't worry about them. I think West Brom are going to finish second. Cardiff are going to get 6th position, but it's down at the bottom where things get interesting. Charlton, Barnsley and Hull all to go down. Wigan, despite their 12-point deduction, are going to stay up on goal difference. That's what I think is going to happen. I think Luton are going to stay up as well under Nathan Jones. But let's have a look at what your guys' final championship table looks like. And you guys think that West Brom will finish second. They'll get the job done. The playoffs change a bit. You think Cardiff will leapfrog Forest and Forest will finish 6th on goal difference. Swansea just to miss out. That'll be amazingly exciting. But we all agree on the bottom 3 to go down. That's pretty good. Charlton, Barnsley and Hull. You guys agree. Wigan and Luton to stay up. That's what you think, despite Wigan's 12-point deduction. Now, what does the wheel think? The wheel thinks that despite a West Brom loss, they finish second on goal difference. They lose, but Brentford draw, which isn't enough. Fulham win, they go so close, but on goal difference, they cannot quite make up the ground. What a final day that will be. Cardiff, meanwhile, leapfrog Forest up to 5th. Forest hold on to 6th in the playoffs. And Hull, Wigan and Barnsley all go down. Wigan's 12-point deduction takes them into the relegation zone, and that will be brutal for Paul Cook and his players who don't deserve this, while Charlton survive and Luton by the skin of their teeth. So they are the final tables. Make sure you comment down below who you think is going to finish second, who you think is going to make the playoffs, and who you think is going down as we approach the final day of the championship. It's going to be epic. I can't believe no team is guaranteed to finish in the relegation zone yet. Absolutely epic. What a league. Please like and subscribe if you've enjoyed this video, if you've enjoyed the first ever series that I've done, and follow me on Twitter to find out the final results of this series, and subscribe to see more Football League content. That's all from me on this one, guys. I will see you on the next one.